Another great opportunity to learn science with your favorite science team. Please do subscribe to the Science and Play channel. Today we are going to learn about floating and sinking. And the materials needed for this activity are basic materials you find around your house. And we are also going to learn about our cereal. It's morning here. Kofi needs to eat his breakfast. He's going to have cornflakes. And so we'd also want to know whether our cornflakes will float or sink in the milk. After today, you would not just eat your cornflakes or play with your everyday items without thinking about science. Let's start the activities. Kakra and Kofi, pick your bowls and pick the cornflakes and any other cereal there, and let's try this. Now pour the milk into your bowl.
The milk what?
No, Kakra, do it before it spills. No, pour it, Kakra. Okay, so put a bit of the cornflakes into the bowl. What do you observe? What happens? What are you seeing? Is our cornflakes floating or sinking now? Kofi, is it floating or sinking?
It's floating.
It's floating, yes.
I'm floating it.
And why do you think it's floating?
Let me push it. When it's
So
floating.
the cornflakes is less dense than our milk.
Okay.
When you mix any two items with different densities, the one with the lower density will float. And in this case, that is our cornflakes. That's why it's floating. But the cornflakes can also sink when it soaks up a lot of the milk. And so we'll leave our cornflakes for a while whilst we look at other objects and also learn about whether it floats or it sinks. We'll go back to our cornflakes to see whether it's still floating or it's sinking. Let's add the Fruit Loop to this.
Right, take it. Hold on. Yeah, alright, that's good.
We just have a few of our Fruit Loops in the milk. Kakra, what do you see?
It's floating.
It's floating, so it's not at the bottom. It's on
again.
top.
It's stop
Let's
again.
add a few more. It's still floating. Okay.
Mommy, can I put
Still
some?
floating. We have our cornflakes here. We have our Fruit Loop also in the milk. Let's add a few more. Okay. So now we'll put this aside and do the other experiment to learn about our floating and sinking. We'll go back to see after the cereal soaks up the milk, what happens, whether it will still float or it will sink. We can already see that our cornflakes is falling to the bottom. So let's continue with the others and we'll come back. Fill this with like halfway through with water. And let's continue. Fill it. We have our bowl half full with water now. We are going to try these objects to see whether they are going to sink or float. So you tell us what happens. So we have stones here. This is tomato, our fish plastic. We have another stone here. There's a bottle cover. I saw a bottle cover here. Yes, we have a bottle cover here too. And our Optimus Prime. Yeah, our track. You're going to see what happens. So which one should I draw first?
This.
And what do you see in there?
It's not floating.
It's not floating. And if it's not floating, it's sinking. Oh! We don't have to learn again. Kofi understands it. What is happening to the stone now?
It's sinking.
It's sinking.
And Another one, the big one is sinking sound.
It's also sinking.
And
Should I drop the fish?
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me drop the fish. What's happening to the fish?
He's floating.
Okay.
If I put the ultimate in, he will float.
Are you sure it will float? Okay, put it in and let's see.
Wait, don't fix it.
Is it floating?
No.
What's happening?
It's letting. If I float myself, you float.
But it's not floating. Is it floating?
No.
Okay. If it's not floating, it means it's what? It's sinking.
It's sinking.
Let me drop this. Let me drop this.
It's sinking.
No, this.
No, floating. Floating.
What's happening to this?
Floating. If I put it here, it will come up again.
Yes, it will come up again. So see, Kofi is explaining it to you. If you push it down, it will still come up again. And the reason is that this plastic tomato is less denser than the water. And so if you push it down, it will still move up above the water, which means that it is lighter. If we try to hold the stone up here, oh, our foldable bowl keeps dropping. If we even put the stone on my hand up here, trying to get it to float, once I move my hand, it will still sink because it's heavier. It's more denser than the water. And so it will what? It will sink. So you see our objects here, our plastic, fish, our tomato, our bottle cap are floating, and we have the stones sinking. Okay, let's see if this flower will float or sink. Oh, if only I can push it out. Yes, I got it out. What do you think? But what do you think first? Do you think it will sink or it will float?
Float.
It will float. Okay, let's see if what you said is right.
It's not floating.
Oh, but it's up above the water.
It's up.
Yes, so it's what?
If I put it down.
Yeah, if you push it down, it will still come up.
It's not coming up.
It is. See, it's up.
No, I don't like it to come up.
You don't want it to come up, but it's not your doing. But now let's explain. Let's go back to our cornflakes and our Fruit Loop, and we can explain it. So let's have our water here with our items in it. Then we can bring, yes. Kofi can't wait to eat his cornflakes. That's why he wants us to get done with this activity. But Kofi, please wait. Let me explain it first before you eat it. So Kakra, you guys should come here. I'll ask you the questions, you answer. Once you answer, it means you understood what we did today. Then you can have your cornflakes and your Fruit Loop. Oh, Kofi, take your time. Now we have our cornflakes and Fruit Loop back on the table after about 30 minutes. I know some of you were asking the questions and wondering why your cornflakes at home will sink after a while, but I kept saying that it was floating. So the cornflakes actually sinks after a while. It stays in the milk for a while. The reason is that it absorbs the milk, which increases the density of the cornflakes, so begins to sink. This is why you see that most of our cereal will be at the bottom of the bowl, because once it soaks up the milk, it becomes heavier than our milk and so sinks. Do you realize our Fruit Loop is still floating in the milk? It's taking a little more time for it to sink like our cornflakes did. This means that it may probably take about a few more hours to sink, but even absorb the milk for it to sink. This is because of the sugar coat on our Fruit Loop, because it takes a little more time for the milk to be absorbed, because it has to first of all dissolve the sugar coating before it will even get to the main cereal to sink. I know you all love crunchy nuts, and so this is the same reason your crunchy nut will continue to be crunchy even after you put it in the milk for after a long while. It's because the milk will still have to dissolve the sugar coating before it diffuses into the cereal.
Mommy, it's for you, Mommy.
Okay, it's the same science we've been learning with our objects in the water, with our cornflakes our Fruit Loop. We've been learning the concept of floating and sinking. Objects that are less dense float. Objects that are denser sink. And so our stones sink in the water. Our bottle cap floats. Our fish floats. Our tomato floats. Oh, Coffee, you're going to answer, yes. And after all this while, what we've been waiting to do is what? Eat our breakfast. So, guys, enjoy your breakfast. Do you want me to feed you? Let's enjoy our breakfast. Kaka, eat your cereal. So, guys, you would never eat your cornflakes or your Fruit Loops again without thinking about science. It floats, it sinks. Density, that is what we've learned today. Bye!